Welcome to the Wickedly Smart Women podcast, featuring stellar conversations with emerging and established wickedly smart women. Thanks for joining us today as we celebrate women who are committed, care deeply, and have the courage to take action and create conscious change all around the world. Now here's your wickedly smart host, Anjel B. Hartwell.
Welcome to another episode of the Wickedly Smart Women podcast, where we celebrate wickedly smart women and provide our listeners with a wealth of wisdom along with immediately actionable steps to be smarter, spunkier, and more successful in their impact and their leadership. This is your host, Anjel B. Hartwell, and I am so delighted today to welcome my very special guest, Laura Hollick. Laura is an award-winning artist and visionary guide. After walking 10,000 kilometers on a vision quest, Laura clarified her purpose and dove into realizing it. She is the founder of SEOL Art Studio, Inc., a business devoted to circulating love around the planet with creative inspiration. Bravo TV created a documentary about Laura's art and life called The Artist's Life, Laura Hollick. Laura hosted and produced over 500 radio shows on 93.3 FM CFMU called The Artist's Lifestyle. She led a TED Talk called You Are the Art. Laura's art and insights inspire audiences around the world with her global events like International SEOL Art Day, Global Vision Quest, Yoni Art Project, and her newly released SEOL Art TV. And I have had the pleasure over the years of being in collegial as well as client relationship with Laura when I engaged with her for the International SEOL Art Day several times. I was in studio with her for International SEOL Art Day. I was part of the New Icon movie, which was filmed and went out 2015, I think it was the year that I was in that. And Laura has been just one of those people on my radar screen for many, many years. And we have a long-standing, beautiful, multi-dimensional relationship with one another, both across art, across business, and across the shamanic vision for our planet as we are in this stage of evolution and growth and expansion and expression. And so it is my pleasure, Laura, to have you here today. Welcome to the Wickedly Smart Women Show.
Thank you. I'm so delighted to be here with you.
Well, I want to begin because I think for you and my witnessing of you, the creativity is the core of who you are. The capacity to apprehend immense, powerful, medicinal vision and then deliver it through your personal expression and through all of the work that you do with others into the world. And so I want to begin by just asking you about your personal experience with learning how to both appreciate and acknowledge your capacity to create, and then how the journey went as you learned how to kind of wrestle that into channeling it in ways that were both beautiful and impact producing.
Well, I think that my creative path really began when I was a kid. And as a kid, I come onto the planet and was heartbroken because I could not relate and connect in this world and in my family, and in that isolation and very confusing, because as a child, it's like, it doesn't make sense. But as I've reflected on it, it's like there was severe isolation and disconnection. And in that, I just longed from like a broken-hearted place, longed for a place where I could belong, longed for a sense of connection. And what this longing did was it opened up this imagination, an imagination where there was a place where I could connect. There was a place where I belonged, where I was cherished and beautiful. And I just spent as much time as I possibly could in my imagination so that I could have a home. And I remember there was this one day, and my imagination got very vivid, but there was this one day where I discovered art. And it was like You mean you can make your imagination real? Meaning like the things that you're dreaming about, the things that make you feel good, the things that make you feel at home, you could make those things. And I just became obsessed. So art for me and creativity has been a way to be home. And so I think the medicinal quality that comes through is love, in that there's this, like, it's a realm of home where spirit is welcome, spirit is visible, you're cherished, you're wanted, and there's beauty and there's magic. And so it was really just this journey of kind of finding my way home. And creativity has been that sort of ever unfolding journey and deeper into that sense of connection and love and beauty.
Beautiful. Well, I know for me, I played with art when I was a kid, but I spent most of my, younger years in a state of really being left-brained and really like focusing on, putting the numbers in the boxes and, getting the A's and all of the things. And it wasn't until I had a spiritual awakening that I really connected with my creative side and gave myself permission to express freely. And so I do want to go back to talking a little bit about, like, was my experience, and maybe it wasn't yours, but I think it may be for a lot of people. When I did tap into that creative realm, it was literally like a fire hose, right? And I just had to say yes to it. And I had to like go all over the place and explore all kinds of things. And so I'm curious for you, did you have that experience? And if so, what have you over the years done to be able to kind of contain and channel your creativity in positive and powerful ways?
Yeah, that's so interesting. I feel like my right brain was probably more developed than my left brain. So it almost sounds like the reverse, right? Mm-hmm. But either way, it doesn't matter which one, you start out with, at some point they have to come together, right? Like at some point. So if someone's super left brain, for them to be like a whole person and to feel their whole self, they will need to bring in some kind of right brain creativity to feel like they've got the balance. And for me, being super, super creative, right? Like that was like my whole world. It's like I had a root system from my crown, but I had to develop sort of the left brain for me was developing the root system on the ground, right? And so I think that, first of all, is recognizing that there are these different aspects of ourselves, and maybe we tend to one way or the other, but we are a whole person, so we'll have all of it. And we just have to find our balance. And so for me, the journey of bringing all that, as you say, like fire hose of, ideas, and like, that's my normal state of being. Well, that's natural and normal. But for me to balance that, I have to ground it. I have to bring it into the practicality of, like I need to make this thing or I need to do this thing. And so through my life, I've actually just become very organized, very grounded, because these visions matter so much to me. They're like my home, my respect for them, my kind of devotion to that is so deep that I'll do whatever it takes. So that means if it's step by step, that takes like 10,000 kilometers to walk something, I don't really care what it is, I'll do it if it's been guided. So for me, balancing that fire hose is really like devotion, discipline, and respect. Like I have such a respect for it that I'll do what it takes to ground it, to make it real, to bring home to earth, basically. So that's for me, like, yeah, there's always a fire hose, but that's not overwhelming to me because it's so natural. It's more of the discipline to honor it. It's like when you get a vision, you get inspiration, how can you honor it? To me, that's the left brain of like making it real. And now I feel so integrated in that. Like even saying it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I do. But I don't even think of it so much that way. It's just, I get a vision and then I want to make it real. So I honor it in whatever that's going to take.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that you brought the word devotion. That word has been very up for me a lot lately. And working with my clients and working with myself, I really feel that we are in an age, we are actually birthing an age that I like to call the creative age, where we're here as the midwives and the birthers of the creative age. And the devotion for me is I am devoted to my capacity to create. I am devoted to keeping my channel clear. I am devoted to honoring that creative force that I have the capacity to channel through me. And I'm devoted to honoring my body as the vessel through which the creativity comes. So I'd love to move the conversation a little bit, because you talked about, you get the vision and then you make the decisions to bring it into reality. One of the things that a lot of our listeners, I'm sure, are visionaries and may have dreams that either they were told could not come true, or they were, they have questions, they have doubt, they are not yet initiated into the state of devotion and are still like wavering on the dam of doubt, right? Which is damning, right? The dam of doubt is damning. So I'd love to have you offer whatever you can about really valuing your own vision, not only your vision as an artist to bring into reality what you see, but also your vision as a businesswoman, and being able to set up a structure that allows you to actually do what you love and make money.
I love that. The dam of doubt. That's hilarious. So I
just came in, just dropped in.
It really comes down to love. Because if you love something, you'll do anything. Like think if you're attracted to someone, like you feel that sort of attraction and you're exhausted, and then someone says, oh, so-and-so is going to be at that, that restaurant or something. You could be exhausted. You're going to go and you're going to put some makeup on. You're going to get some beautiful outfit and you're going to go walk by and pretend like you didn't know that they were there. So you'll do something because there's an attraction, there's a pull, there's a magnetism. And I think love is behind that. And so until that has happened, there's no will to do it. It's willpower that you're sort of forcing yourself rather than just feeling the well of energy that you have access to do the thing. So to me, I think it comes down to like what enables love for a person. And so the story that I shared in the beginning, where to me, creativity really came from this longing of like a broken heart. It's like I was so heartbroken by this sense of disconnection that I felt. It's like I needed to feel connected. And so then my love, that relationship, that love bond, the bonding happened with my art. And so I will do anything for it in the sense because, there's love there. And I think that if we try to I love this, pretend to love it, it will kind of half-bake do it. But to get to that level of devotion, it's like, really, it's just, what do you love? What is driving you? And we all have to figure that out. No one can just hand it to you and say, okay, here's the formula. It's like you have to go on the journey to find it. Find your love. And sometimes it's a love for yourself. Maybe you realize like you love yourself so much, you're not going to allow a shrinking feeling or thought or belief to hold back your power. Maybe the love for yourself is so strong, or it's love for an idea. And when we don't, it's like, well, maybe I don't love anything, right? Like that could happen too. And then that's the journey to discover where is their love. Because without that, I don't really know where the inspiration is, where what's driving it. It's probably all just, oh, I should do this or I should do that, and then it's a little bit disembodying. But to get something that's like really driven from something beyond what you can comprehend, there's got to be some element of love woven into that, in my experience. So that's what I would say. It's like, and it's a journey. I was on a 10,000 kilometer vision quest. I don't have it all figured out, and I don't know that that's the point to have it all figured out. But there is journeys that we take for different things we want to realize. Suddenly we get driven to like, well, I want to know my purpose. Well, maybe it's the love for your purpose. Like, you're longing for it. And so you will do things to magnetically connect with it.
Yeah.
And that's the same with a vision. If the vision is there and you love that vision and it's your soul's heartbeat, nothing could stop it from coming through.
Yeah.
The dam of doubt is broken. It will be broken.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Well, we have to go to the break. We actually have to break the dam of doubt and go to the break right now. Perfect timing. Thanks, God and Goddess and Spirit and Source, whatever you want to call it. So right now we are going to go to the break. Wickedly Smart Women, we could use some help. If you are enjoying this show, if you love this show and you want us to stay on the air, please consider making a donation at www.wickedlysmartwomen.com. We'd also like to ask you to share with your lovely lady friends who you think might benefit from our content. I do want to say a big thank you to all of our listeners who are downloading, rating, and reviewing. We're welcoming thousands of downloads from all over the world. We've added 9 countries just in the last few weeks. I want to shout out this week to our listeners, of course, in Canada, which is where Laura is, but also let's shout out to our listeners in Ecuador, in the Philippines, and in Nepal. And we will be right back with Laura Hollick.
The Wickedly Smart Women podcast is brought to you by the Wealthy Life Mentor. Women, are you on the edge knowing that life is calling you to make a change? Are you ready to be part of the evolution of what it means to be a wickedly smart woman, creating your wealthy life by design? A life that is an extraordinary work of art. Anjel B. Hartwell, the Wealthy Life Mentor, is hired by women in transition. Women just like you who want to break through to their brilliance, become clear on the value of their wisdom, and embody a beauty-filled, balanced life of shameless self-expression. Discover your wealthy life readiness by taking the quiz at quiz.wealthylifementor.com.
And we are back with Laura Hollick, and I want to give you a chance, Laura, to let people know where they can find out more about you, about your creative genius, and about how you support and help others around the world to be able to step in and value their own vision and channel their own creativity in powerful ways. So where would our listeners be able to find out more about you?
The best place would be laurahollick.com. And there's always new creative projects on the go and different global events in motion. So laurahollick.com would be a great place to stay in touch.
Yeah, and I want to just spiral back around because on my bio here that I read at the beginning, her newly released SEOL Art TV, when I read that, I thought, I remember being on SEOL Art TV back in 2013, and maybe that's supposed to actually say SEOL Art School. Didn't you just newly launch SEOL Art School? And can you tell me a little bit about what's happening there? Is it SEOL Art School? Is it SEOL Art TV? Is it some combination of both? Are they getting married? What's happening?
So, there's the fire hose, right? There's so many things happening. Creativity is just a fertile garden of, everything is growing, right? It's alive, it's vibrant, it's healthy. So yes, we did just open SEOL Art School, which is so amazing beyond it's beyond my expectations really of how beautiful that has been. And SEOL Art TV, yes, you are right that you were on that years ago. So, and we are starting that a new version again with new technologies and new ways of bringing ideas through. But when we had connected years ago, that was in this transitional phase when the internet was beginning in the way that we understand it now. And I had come out of doing a radio show for over 10 years. And I was looking at how can I translate what I was doing in the radio show onto the internet. So we started SEOL Art TV then, let it, run a cycle with that. And we're reviving it in a new way. So that's something that is unfolding as we speak.
Yeah.
So all the things that you mentioned, they're all happening, but it's all part of the big garden of creativity in motion.
Lots of things cooking on the stove here in Laura's kitchen. So as I recall, when you launched SEOL Art TV, and I was part of that when it first launched back in, I think it was 2013, 12, somewhere around there, 10.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Somewhere back in the day. I remember that part of what happened for you as a result of that was you actually very swiftly garnered a global audience that got the attention of some people like Sir Richard Branson. So I don't know if you want to talk about that or not, but I thought that was a pretty fun and interesting thing that occurred out of your creation. And really what I'd like you to speak to is the unexpected surprises and the delightful kind of wondrous things that happen when we say yes to our creative power and we do bring it into manifestation.
Well, it's magical, right? So when you bring something through, so if you have a vision, it's like a higher frequency energy. And when you do the work of actually bringing it through, taking the tangible steps, bringing that vision through, you're bringing a higher frequency energy into your life and onto the planet. So of course, there's going to be magic that comes from that and things that you can't even contrive. You know, the logical brain knows the end before it starts. The creative brain goes on a journey to discover where it's going. And so if you're in that creative process, you're always discovering what's unfolding, what's growing, what's happening. So when I launched the SEOL Art TV years ago, so I had already been doing a radio show for over 10 years and had like a whole career of doing things not on the internet. So then when I came on the internet, I did have a wealth of skills and it's like I was ready to take a jump. Even though it looked like it had just started, it was, building for a decade up to that. And so I could jump in the internet sphere in that stage. And I didn't expect, all the things that happened. Like I did go to Necker Island and Richard Branson's Island. And I met amazing people and, continue to meet amazing people like yourself. And, so many things unfold. But to me, it's just the continuation of the creation. I don't even see that as like there's a pinnacle or it's just like the creation is alive. And I'm alive with it. And so we're growing and things are happening. So when we are in that devotional space where we trust and love the vision, and I think trust and love are similar, right? Like it's similar energy. Love is this expansive, alive, fertile energy. And trust is what enables us to sort of be in that. So when we have trust for what we love, we can let it unfold. We can let it be like a teacher, a guide, a partner for us. So yeah, I think that when we trust our visions, we bring it through. Of course, magic's going to happen.
Yeah.
And sometimes that magic is also like a healing. It's not always this thing that like looks glossy on the outside. Sometimes it's something really intimate and internal where suddenly you healed something because that high frequency energy could touch a deep, tender spot inside. And so no one will even know the magic that happened, but your life would be different.
Yeah. So let's talk about the deep, tender spot. Because as you were speaking there, I was seeing how I was devoted to my rose garden when I had my own house. And I would go out into the garden and every rose was blossoming in its own form and its own time. And I remember the beauty of going out into the rose garden and seeing the uniqueness of each rose and the process of the creating itself. And so that obviously brought me to the Yoni art in my mind. It connected to the Yoni art. And then you said the deep, tender place. So that was one piece of your journey that when that came out, when the Yoni artwork came out, it felt a little like a side path because up until then you had focused a lot on helping people to have their art make money and it felt like it was a side path, but it was a part of the creation that came as a result, I'm hearing now, of something that came through you that touched that deep, tender place. So I'd love to have you, because we've only got about a few minutes left, and this is a show dedicated to wickedly smart women, and there's nothing more indicative of our womanhood than our Yoni. So I'd love to have you speak a little bit to the Yoni and the Yoni art and how you've navigated through that healing and evolution.
All right. Well, this will bring this full circle because we started off in this idea of like the right and the left brain and how do you bring visions through and, how do you channel what you're doing? So someone who's got visions and creativity, you have roots up in kind of higher realms, spirit realms, and so on. And then if you want to make them real, guess where they're going through? They're going through the Yoni. they're birthing through the birth canal. And so I did learn this by bringing so many visions through and birthing so many things on this planet, like projects and ideas. And I mean, just like hundreds of thousands of different things coming through. So my Yoni, without knowing it, was getting quite a workout. And I was learning, I was like, oh wow, it's got to navigate past like that, the dam of doubt, things like that, where you have to find your way through to get it into reality. And so Yoni on that level, based on the conversation we're having, has been the mapping of really birthing yourself, birthing your soul, bringing your essence through. So if you want to birth a business or a beautiful body or relationship or all these things, well, those are dreams and ideas. But if they're going to come into reality and they're coming through you, your Yoni is an instrument, a symbolic instrument and channel and vessel that can birth these things in the womb space, holding those visions until they're ripe and ready to come through. Mm-hmm. So the Yoni artwork is something that actually we're having a whole new level of that is coming out just like very soon. I don't know when this is exactly being released or so on, but very soon we are birthing the next level of Yoni art, because right now on the planet, as it's time to midwife the next level of who we can be as women and as humans. I mean, our Yonis, we need to get our root back. We as women need to get our root back. So we're not like disembodied and just floating up in ideas, but we are grounded and holding our power and have the capacity to have our power come through us. So Yoni art is the journey of all of that, of discovering your ability to birth, not just babies. I mean, birth yourself, birth your essence, your soul on the planet. So Yoni art is the exploration of that, and really the healing of the disembodied root that most women in our modern culture have.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I'll raise my hand.
Yeah. And because of thousands of years of that creative feminine root being severed, and I think when I came in and I felt that heartbreak of not being connected, and now I look back at it, and it's an element of that. Like, why is there no place for my creative soul here? Why am I not getting a reflection of this essence that I am around me? It's like, and it was heartbreaking. So the Yoni artwork is the ability to bring through and midwife the new paradigm, midwife ourselves, and be empowered in our creative capacity. So I'm super passionate about it. To me, it's the other end of the channel. Like soul art is the ability to connect with your vision, to have a relationship with your soul, to find that love. But Yoni art is how you make it real. How do you bring it through? And that's like, there's an orgasmic quality to it, but also tender, because there's a lot of wounds in that channel from all the disembodiment.
Yeah. So and not just from disembodiment. I'll speak just directly that I did the Yoni artwork, and it actually revealed things that I had kind of repressed, depressed, and of abuse in my own childhood, directly from my mom, who literally attacked my Yoni. So, and it was a hugely powerful healing experience that has ultimately allowed me to become more physically embodied as well. And so what I really want to underscore as we close here, Laura, is the potency of your work is exponentially explosive in terms of its capacity to really support people to create the life of their dreams that's, in a way that is healthy and powerful and most of all beautiful and birthed in love. And so I'm just so grateful that you were with me today. We're already at the end. You and I could spend hours and hours and hours and hours together. We're such soul sisters, but we are going to have to go. And I want to just remind everyone, you can find out more about Laura at laurahollick.com. We will have that in the show notes. We may also put in soulartstudio.com, because a lot of Laura's creative processes come out of the Soul Art Studio. And I also want to say a big shout out to your partner, Kevin, who I know has been an instrumental partner in all of the things. And he was on my Men on Purpose podcast when I first got into the podcasting space. So, all right, listeners, we love feedback. Please let us know what you thought of today's show by calling into our listener line. We'll have that in the show notes for you, or sending questions or guest suggestions to listeners@wickedlysmartwomen.com. We might even give you a shout out on the show. Thank you for tuning in. Keep your ears open and remember, you are a wonderful woman.
Thanks for tuning in, downloading, and listening. Be sure to rate and review Wickedly Smart Women on Apple Podcasts and share with other women who can benefit from today's episode. Wickedly Smart Women is the premier podcast series for informing, activating, and inspiring the leader who carries profound wisdom and knows that now is the time to welcome wealth. We welcome your feedback and guest suggestions and invite you to subscribe to our mailing list to be notified of each new episode at wickedlysmartwomen.com.